Hello, good morning, friends. So, in this lecture, I'll classify the fixed income market ecosystem into various types. So, first classification is based on the issuers who will issue the fixed income securities, and second classification is based on the types of fixed income securities, and the third classification is based on the markets. So, I'm going to classify the fixed income into three types. One is based on the fixed income issuers. Second one is based on fixed income securities, investment grade and non-investment grade. And the third category of classification comes is fixed income markets, money markets and capital markets. Okay, right. So within the fixed income issues, broadly three types. One is government entities, another one is corporates, another one is structured finance, asset-backed securities or mortgage-backed securities. Okay, so broadly the government sector. Within the government sector, there are four types of bonds. Within the bonds issued by government, a layman or a normal investor will think that government bond is government bond. Government bond is very safe, low risk. No, within the government sector, that is a blunder mistake. That is a blunder mistake to assume that there are only one type of government bonds. No, within the government sector, there are various types of bonds. First category is the bonds issued by supranational organizations. First category is the bonds issued by supranational organizations, such as World Bank or International Monetary Fund, supranational organizations. Next comes is sovereign bonds. Sovereign bonds in US they are called as a federal bonds. In India we'll call it as an RBI bonds or Government of India bonds. Sovereign bonds. Non-sovereign bonds refers to local authorities. So supranational organizations normally they are typical example of World Bank. So if the World Bank issues bonds, that is called as a bond issued by supranational organization. Sovereign bonds usually issued by federal government in US are also called as Government of India, federal government or a Government of India. Non-sovereign bonds issued by local authorities or municipalities called as local authorities, okay, or municipal corporations. Non-sovereign bonds are usually issued by local authorities or municipal corporations. Quasi-government entities. Quasi-government entities. These are the bonds refers to entities aided or sponsored by government. Entities aided or sponsored by government. Entities aided or sponsored by government. So within the government sector, there are many types of bonds. Some issued by multilateral financial institutions, some issued by central governments, some issued by local governments, and some issued by other organizations which are aided or sponsored by the government. All the governments are not of same safety. This is the important point we need to understand. The very reason behind decomposing the government bonds into various categories. The reason is to understand or to emphasize that all government bonds are not of equal safety. All government bonds are not of equal safety. Within the government sector, we need to understand who is issuing the bonds. So in case of supranational organizations and sovereign bonds, they are more safer than non-sovereign bonds and quasi-government entities bonds. Okay, the first two categories bonds, supranational organizations and sovereign bonds, are comparatively more safer than the bonds of non-sovereign governments or quasi-government entities. Okay, that is the very reason for decomposition of government bonds into various subcategories. Next, corporates also will issue the bonds, that much we know. And the most important and the emerging area now is the structured finance. Structured finance, now it's an altogether a different topic. It's a notion, asset-backed securities and mortgage-backed securities is there. So in this lecture, I'm not going to cover what is meant by asset-backed securities, what is meant by mortgage-backed securities. For that, we'll discuss in the next lecture in detail. Asset-backed securities and mortgage-backed securities. For the time being, understand that structured finance refers to asset-backed securities or mortgage-backed securities. Okay, so this is the first category of classification. Classification of fixed income issuers. Who will issue the fixed income securities? Who will issue the bonds? Who will issue the bonds? Next classification comes is fixed income securities. Fixed income securities, investment grade and non-investment grade. Within the fixed income securities also there are two types, investment grade and non-investment grade. Investment grade bonds are normally low risk and non-investment grade bonds are normally high risk. You may ask, sir, who will classify bonds into investment grade and non-investment grade? It is not the corporate, it is not the issuer which is going to classify. It is the credit rating agencies which classify the investments into various categories. It is their opinion. It is their opinion. It is not a legal classification. Be careful. Be careful. The important reason why you should know who will classify the bonds, the credit rating agencies. Sir, why it is important? Because many times investors are blindly purchasing the bonds of the investment grade credit rating by relying on the credit rating agencies. So credit rating agencies has a poor track record of predicting the failures or defaults. Credit rating agencies has a poor track record of predicting the failures or defaults. Therefore, my advice to the investors is that you cannot completely rely on the credit rating agencies report. You have to do your own independent analysis. You have to know, you have to take the advice from your trusted expert advisor. Okay, not blindly relying on the credit rating agencies. So credit rating is one kind of information required for investments. We cannot blindly depend only on that investments. Therefore, the classification of bonds into investment grade and non-investment grade, it is done by the credit rating agencies. It is not done by the government. It is not the legal classification. It is their opinion. It is their opinion. And there is all chances that their opinion may be wrong. And there is all chances that the opinion of the credit rating agencies may be wrong. Maybe for 101 factors. I don't want to discuss why it is those things, but my advice is that take credit rating agency classification only as one kind of input. You don't invest on, you should not invest in the fixed income securities by taking only the rating, by looking only at the credit rating. By looking only at the credit rating, we cannot invest in the fixed income securities. That is the important point. The classification of investment grade and non-investment grade is done by the credit rating agencies. It is not done by the issuer, or it is not the legal classification. It is not done by the government. Okay? Right. So it is the opinion of the credit rating agencies regarding low risk bonds and high risk bonds. Okay. So easy access and low cost. From the issuer point of view, maybe government or maybe corporate or maybe a special purpose vehicle, or this, though the entities which issue these asset backed securities or mortgage backed securities, they are called as special purpose vehicles or special purpose legal entities. Normally we'll call it as a SPV. In India we'll call it as an SPV, special purpose vehicle. In US they will call it as a special purpose legal entities. So whoever may be issuing the bonds, whether it may be government or SPV or corporates, right? So for them, issuing investment grade bonds is very easy. If being a corporate, if I am issuing investment grade bonds, I can easily access the money. But if I am issuing non-investment grade bonds, I may face difficulties in issuing. Sir, why it is difficulty? Why it is easy to invest in why it is easy to issue investment grade bonds? The reason is very simple. Because the bonds are very low risk, the bonds are very low risky bonds, therefore it attracts the investors. Not only normal retail investors, it attracts many large investors like banks, insurance companies, mutual funds, pension funds, etc. So they will prefer purchasing investment grade bonds. Because banker is dealing with the public money, he is not supposed to take reckless risk. Okay, if you give money in the mutual fund, maybe they may be willing to take the risk. But in case of banks and insurance companies, they are dealing with the public company, they are dealing with the public money. Banker is supposed to return the deposits of the public. Insurance company is supposed to honor the claims of the policyholders. Therefore, they cannot deal with the money recklessly. Therefore, regulatory restrictions are there. Banks and financial institutions or insurance companies should not invest in non-investment grade bonds. Or if they invest hardly 5 to 10%, there will be some limit. Therefore, if we issue investment grade bonds, everybody will come and purchase. Right from the retail investor to the large investor, large institutional investor, right from small retail investor to the large institutional investor, everybody will come and pick the investment grade bond. Therefore, it is very easy for the issuer to access the bond. And also, since the bond carries low risk, it is a low cost. The coupon rate is less. The coupon rate of investment grade bonds is less. So these are the advantages of investment grade bonds from the issuer point of view. From the issuer point of view, these are the advantages of investment grade bonds. One is easy access, another one is low cost. You understand why easy access? Because of participation of institutional investors. Important point we need to understand. Easy access, participation of institutional investors. Participation of institutional investors. Participation of institutional investors. Participation of institutional investors. So for this reason, it is easy for the issuers to access the money. Whereas because of legal restrictions, accessing money is difficult if you issue non-investment grade bonds. Accessing money is difficult when we issue non-investment grade bonds. Accessing money is difficult because of regulatory restrictions. Okay, low or lack of participation. Low or lack of participation. Low or lack of participation of institutional investors. Why they are not interested? Due to regulatory restrictions. Due to regulatory restrictions. So due to regulatory restrictions, institutional investors may not be willing. Due to regulatory restrictions, institutional investors may not be willing to purchase the non-investment grade bonds. Therefore, it is very difficult for the company to access money, and that is the reason they are offering high rate of interest. They are offering high coupon rate on non-investment grade bonds. That's why the another name for non-investment grade bond is high yield bonds. High yield bonds are the another name for non-investment grade bonds. Okay. Next. So credit risk, non-investment grade bonds carries higher credit risk. So what is meant by credit risk? What is meant by credit risk? Loss arising to the investor because of default by the bond issuer is called credit risk. Credit risk refers to loss arising to the bondholder because of default by the bond issuer is called credit risk. Right. So why the bond issuer will default? Why the bond issuer will default? Or what is the reason of credit risk? What is the reason of credit risk? Profitability or liquidity issues, or sometimes both. Okay. So entity may not be having profits, or entity may be having profits, but entity may not be having sufficient liquidity. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Profitability and liquidity issues, both are there. Okay, because of these reasons. So you have to understand non-investment grade bonds are high risk. There are many types of risk. So non-investment grade bonds, high risk. When I'm talking about the risk, I'm talking about the credit risk. Other risks like price risk, interest rate risk, that will be there common for both investment grade and non-investment grade. That I am not talking about. Risk here, I am talking only about the credit risk. Investment grade or non-investment grade bond, whenever I am talking about the risk, it is particularly restricted to the credit risk. So what is meant by credit risk? Loss to the investor because of default by the bond issuer. What is the reason for the credit risk? Profitability and liquidity. What is the reason for the credit risk? Profitability and liquidity. Okay, right. That is what the point was. This is the classification of fixed income securities. Next, classification of fixed income markets, money markets and capital markets. Classification of fixed income securities, money markets and capital markets. Money markets are short term. Money markets are short term up to 1 year. Money markets are short term, normally up to 1 year. Money markets are short term, normally up to 1 year. And capital markets are medium to long term. Medium to long term. Either medium term or long term loans. Okay. Money market instruments are short term. Capital market instruments are medium to long term. Okay, right. So those investors who have liquidity issues in the near future, maybe in the next 6 months you have to pay your children fees, or next 6 months you have to purchase a house. So those investors who have liquidity issues, they better invest in the money market securities. Those investors who don't have any liquidity needs in near term, they prefer capital market instruments. And those who want to take advantage of the beauty of the compounding. Long-term investment. What is the beauty of the long-term investment? It increases your wealth without any noise. Very silently it increases your wealth. That is called as compounding. So those who are looking for the compounding returns, they can better invest in 30 years. So if you invest in 30 years, over a period of 30 years, apart from your regular income, the income on compounding will be very high. The compounded income will be very high. So therefore, those who prefer long-term investments, those who wants the benefit of compounding, they can go for the capital markets. Those investors who have liquidity needs in the near term, example, paying education fees after 6 months or purchasing house after 1 year, etc. Though they are having marriage occasion after 1 year, so they prefer money market instruments or short-term instruments. Okay, right. The maturity range of money market instruments is normally from 1 day to 1 year. Overnight means 1 day. 1 day to 1 year. The maturity of money market instruments is normally 1 day to 1 year. 1 day to 1 year. So I have given a couple of examples of money market instruments, that is commercial papers and certificate of deposits. Okay, so these are issued by corporates. It's not that only corporates will prefer money market instruments. No, even government also will prefer money market instruments. In US, we have something called as treasury bills. In India, we'll have something called as 91 days RBI treasury bill. So in both India and US, money market instruments are also issued by the government also. Whatever the examples I have given, commercial papers and certificate of deposits, those are normally issued by the corporate. Money market instruments issued by the corporate are normally called as commercial papers or certificate of deposits. Okay, money market instruments issued by the government is normally called as treasury bills. Okay, right. Capital markets, some people will call it as a notes, some people will call it as a bonds. The moment you look at the word called as bond, normally it is long term. The moment you look at the word called as bill, treasury bill, okay, that is a short term. Treasury bill is a short term. Government bond is a long term. Both are issued by the government. Both are issued by the government. Bill, the terminology bill is meant for short term instruments. The terminology bond is meant for long term investments, capital market instruments. Okay, so these are the classification of fixed income issues. Okay, thanks.